everybody, Dr. Rory Stern here of ADHDFamilyOnline.com, and right now I'd like to talk about a strength-based approach to ADHD. Now, I've hinted at this a little bit in terms of some of the other lessons we've talked about when I mean a strength-based approach instead of the disease model or the medical model, and looking at what's broken or what's problematic and trying to fix that, and overlooking how we identify strengths and build somebody's strengths. The strength-based model is really so much more than that, okay? We need to understand, again, that ADHD is a complex condition that some like to characterize as a disorder or as a deficit. It is not something that we can just give a pill to. Somebody would give them a pill and think it's going to go away. There is no cure for ADHD, okay? Medication does not cure it. It resolves the symptoms. It makes things a little bit easier, okay? So if something doesn't have a cure, we need to focus on it differently, because we're not going to make it go away. So instead of fighting what we have, instead of working against the current, I want to work with the current. So what I'm talking about here in a strength-based approach is identifying what is the person good at. What are the positives they have to offer this world? And every single person has a unique natural ability or innate talent that they are born with. And that is our challenge every day, to find out what is that natural talent, what is that natural ability, and how are you going to be successful in this world different from the next person. We all have that ability. That's what the strength-based approach is about. It's about focusing on the positive. It's about supporting somebody from a position of being positive instead of being negative and telling them you're doing this wrong, you're doing this wrong. You're not breaking somebody down, you're building somebody up with a strength-based approach. Okay? I'm beating a dead horse here for a reason. Not enough people are doing this. We don't do it without people. People who don't have ADHD need the same things. We need to focus on the positives. More about a strength-based approach is working in collaboration with others. We need to recognize that not everybody is good at every single task. So in addition to knowing your strengths, identifying your strengths, we also need to leverage the strengths of others. And that's why I work in a collaborative practice. I work with a psychiatrist who understands the mind, body, the brain, the anatomy at a much deeper, in-depth level than I can, and that's okay. I'm not ashamed of that. We are complementary. We work in collaboration. That's why I also work with a therapist who's skilled in doing therapy, behavioral therapy, reflective therapies. I work with somebody who does non-medication approaches to ADHD, neurofeedback, because it's a different approach, and these are all collaborative. That's what strength-based is. Now, if I turn this around and say, as a parent, as a family, what is a strength-based approach? It means that we're not blaming the person with ADHD for having it. We're not singling them out. We're not putting the responsibility on them. We're embracing it as an entire family, and we're recognizing, I'll use a child as an example, that the parents are going to need to learn different skills, tools, strategies, resources to help nurture and support that child. The siblings, the child's siblings, are going to have to realize that there may be differences in chores and expectations and responsibilities, and instead of just pointing the finger at the person who has ADHD, we just come from this idea of strength and say, you know what, Mary, John, whoever child number one is, this is how you do things, and this is how you really do well in certain environments. Well, your brother or sister needs to do things certain ways, and I realize that can seem unfair, but it's actually just more about taking advantage of the strengths and natural abilities that we each have, and developing those and allowing that person to rely on those. That's a strength-based approach, and that's a way to win, especially with families, in explaining the differences and why things are different. We're focusing on strengths, and we all have different strengths, okay? That's it for now. Take care, everybody.